Good afternoon, Planning Commission, members of the public, and city staff. For the record, Katie Bugle-Morales from the Long Range Planning Work Group. The climate and resilience element is a new addition to the city's comprehensive plan. Prior to the plan update, climate goals and policies were integrated throughout other plan elements. The next few slides are intended to provide some background on climate planning, specifically state and regional policies that were considered when drafting the city's climate and resilience element. In 2023, the Washington State Legislature passed HB 1181, which amended the Growth Management Act and requires cities that are planning under the Growth Management Act to add climate mitigation and resilience policies into comprehensive plan updates. The required policy changes will address climate emissions and impacts while also considering co-benefits and integration with other planning documents. The Department of Commerce provided a planning guidance document to ensure that we are compliant with HB 1181 and to ensure that we have the intended results, which is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and vehicle miles traveled. An important piece of the legislation is also prioritizing actions that benefit vulnerable communities and promote environmental justice. So this language is also reflected in the draft element. The city's climate element aligns with the goals and policies in the Puget Sound Regional Council's Vision 2050 document. Vision 2050 calls for these 4 items: reducing emissions that contribute to climate change and climate impacts, engaging in resilience planning and climate preparedness with a focus on equitable outcomes, helping cities to incorporate emission reductions and adaptation measures in their comprehensive plans, and through land use plan updates, improve climate adaptation and resilience and implement measures to address climate hazards. The King County countywide planning policies also hone in on key themes in climate planning for comprehensive plans: action, mitigation, and resilience with a focus on sustainable land use, multimodal transportation, and energy infrastructure. And we reviewed our own climate action plan, the Clean Economy Strategy 2.0, to make sure that the policies in the climate element are in keeping and build off of the recommendations in the Clean Economy Strategy. The planning document serves as a roadmap of local policies to reduce the city's greenhouse gas emissions, enhance environmental sustainability, and prepare for climate change, while maintaining and building a strong economy. It recommends citywide planning efforts to move towards a vision of net zero emissions and community resilience. The draft climate and resiliency element is organized into 3 sub-elements: implementation and monitoring, greenhouse gas emission reduction, and resilience. Under the greenhouse gas emission sub-element, there are 4 focus areas, including zoning and sustainable development, transportation, waste prevention and management, and carbon sequestration. Under the resilience sub-element, there are 3 focus areas: the built environment, communities and emergency preparedness, and ecosystems. Internally, the climate element has been reviewed by planning staff, the sustainability team in public works, and emergency management. In the implementation and monitoring sub-element, there's just one goal: increase the city's capacity to monitor and report on climate action implementation. Under the Growth Management Act, cities meeting the population requirements must submit an implementation progress report to Commerce 5 years after revising their comprehensive plan. So we will complete an updated emissions inventory in 2029. Under the greenhouse gas emission reduction sub-element, there are 4 focus areas, and each focus area has its own set of goals and policies. For brevity, I've just included the 3 goals under zoning and sustainable development. Goal CB, foster higher intensity land uses in mixed-use centers, neighborhoods, and transit corridors that address the need for housing for all economic segments. Goal CC, support and incentivize building and energy codes and policies that reduce energy use, encourage sustainable construction practices, phase out fossil fuel use, and support clean energy. Goal CD, increase the energy efficiency of existing buildings through retrofits that promote building decarbonization. These efforts will target the integration of renewable energy sources, implementation of energy efficient systems, and the prioritization of lower carbon building materials. The resilience sub-element addresses Renton's unique climate vulnerabilities in the community, in its resources, and in its infrastructure. A few of these impacts include continued episodes of wildfire smoke, variable precipitation patterns, which lead to increased flooding, landslides, and drought, and increased temperatures, which we have seen reduces snowpack, reduces water supply, and impacts streams, and creates stress on critical infrastructure, the energy grid, and in our ecosystems. Resilience in the built environment goals. Goals CH implement strategic and equitable land use planning that emphasizes the prevention of community displacement caused or exacerbated by climate change impacts. And Goal CI, prepare for climate impacts expected to pose the biggest threat to Renton's communities and infrastructure, including wildfire smoke, flooding and landslides, drought, and the extreme heat. Seek to minimize the disproportionate impacts of climate change on vulnerable communities. This is a list of all the plans that are adopted by reference in the climate and resiliency element. PDF versions of these plans can be found online or by contacting city staff. For project updates or to review the draft climate and resiliency element in its entirety, please visit the project webpage at rentonwa.gov/comprehensive plan. This element will also be presented at the May 1st Planning Commission public hearing. If you have any questions or comments on the planning process or any of the elements, please send those to planupdate@rentonwa.gov, and don't forget to take the community survey by using the QR code here.